Hello and welcome. Oh, I apologize. I wasn't trying to sound like Julia Childs. It just kind of came out that way. For those of you who don't know who Julia Childs is, you might want to Google her. Anyways, this is Tracy, and you're watching For the Love of Stamping. And thanks for choosing to be here today. I'm in a great mood, and you're probably wondering, why is this girl in a great mood? Well, let me tell you. Spring is here, the trees are budding, and the flowers are blooming, and everything is finally coming back to life. And doesn't that just put a smile on your face? Well, now that I have you smiling, perhaps you would like to put a smile on someone else's face. And maybe you could do that by sending them a card like this. Do you have someone in mind? Do you have someone special that you might want to send this card to, put a smile on their face? Well, today's featured card is actually the card sample that I'm giving to my participant in this month's 2023-2024 Core Color Club. And you might be asking yourself, what's a Core Color Club? Well, it's a crafter's monthly club where you can receive a package of products all in one particular color. It runs for 5 months, and I'm focusing it on 5 of the new colors from the recent color refresh from Stampin' Up. Those colors that I'm going to feature in my club are Lemon Lolly, Afternoon Azure, Pecan Pie, Bubble Bath, and Lost Lagoon. Now, as a participant of this club, you receive an array of products in the featured color. And this month's featured color, you guessed it, is Lemon Lolly. So the kit would include each month a package of 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock, the classic ink pad and re-inker, and the matching colored Stampin' Blends, along with some coordinating accessories. And then as an additional perk to being in the club, you get a special handmade card made by me that showcases the featured monthly club color, in addition to some written instructions. Now, the details for this club can be found in the link below the video, and crafters within Canada are eligible to participate in this club. And you can join at any time. So that brings us to today's project. So let's get crafting. Today we're going to be using a brand new stamp die bundle out of the 2023-2024 catalog found on page 68, and it's called Darling Details. This is a stamp die bundle, and it retails for $73.75 Canadian. And if you're interested in purchasing this bundle, I will include the link to my online store below the video. Now, the stamp set includes flowers and foliage and some sentiments, but it also comes in the bundle with these dies. And of course, there's matching dies to cut out the flowers and the branches and the leaves. But what's really special about this particular bundle and these dies is that not that often Stampin' Up! Includes the frames that you can use to make your cards. And they did so with this one. And that really is exciting for me because you can use this die to create the frame like I've done on the front of our card by cutting your cardstock at 5.5 by 4.25, placing the die on the front and running it through your die cutting machine gives you this fancy, pretty frame. I think it's just a very special looking frame, and I love it, and I hope you do too. So when we're making our card today, you're going to need a few other supplies. I'm going to, for the sake of time, run through the pieces that you'll need to pre-stamp and die cut in order to make our card. So we're going to start with 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of Lemon Lolly. You'll score it at 4.25 to make your card base. We'll die cut another piece, like I said, of 5.25 by 4 inch Lemon Lolly. Run it through your Stampin' Cut and emboss machine with the coordinating frame to create your frame. You'll also want to pre-die cut out of white 2 of the flowers with the leaf combo and 1 single leaf all by himself in white. The other pieces have to be stamped first before you die cut. These are the little tiny flowers that come in the bundle. I've stamped them in fresh Freesia and then just run them through the machine. I needed to have 3 of them, so you'll need to do the same. You'll also want to die cut or stamp first 3 of the branches. Now I've used Granny Apple Green, but before I actually stamped the image on the white, I first stamped off and then I die cut them. So you need 3 of those. For the large flower, you're going to use Berry Burst. It's a returning color from years gone by. I actually stamped off before I stamped the outline image, and then the inside or inset piece of the flower was stamped in fresh Freesia. You'll need 2 of the half daisy flowers here. Both of them have been stamped with the outline and the inset in Calypso Coral. And then finally, you'll need to die cut a little label frame for yourself to put your sentiment. This happens to be from a retired set called So Sweetly Stitched. And I then used the stamp out of the bundle to place in the inside of the frame where it reads Just a Note. So we're going to get going here, and I hope you're ready to go. But you will need some adhesives in order to put this card together. And so I'll clear my space here. You're going to want to have some of the foam strips. A lot of this card was using foam strips. I placed them underneath the frame, and I've got them underneath the bouquet of flowers and its branches and such. You'll also want some mini Stampin' Dimensionals because I placed it under the one that you see here. And finally, to adhere some of the other pieces, such as the Just a Note and this single flower, I used my Stampin' Seal Plus, which I think is one of the best adhesives that we've got on the market today. Love this stuff. So let's clear these out of the way, and I will get you going here. So first piece, let's do the easy part. I mean, the whole card really isn't that difficult to do at all, but you know, it'll take a little bit of time. So I'm going to show you all the steps, so don't worry. We're going to be all working together on this project, and I think you're going to be happy with the end result. So let's start with the frame. So I mentioned you're going to want to have some of these foam strips. You also need a pair of scissors. We're going to lay the strips of foam along the dotted lines. When I did my first card, I actually put it right along the outer edges, and I found that what happened was the center started to like collapse in, and I didn't like that. So I wanted to be sure that when I did the next card with you all, that we had the foam in the right place. So we'll cut some strips of foam. I'm just going to take this and use it as a guide to see how big the strip needs to be to come down that side. We'll just take our scissors and we'll just snip a piece. We'll pull that off and we'll line it right along that stitching. And that will help the frame to remain up and not depressed. Anyways, all right, so I noticed I should probably cut just a teensy bit bigger, but that's okay. We got lots of these foam strips. We'll just add another piece. Not a problem. And then similarly, we will do one along this side. So let me see if I can measure this a little bit better. Let's come in about here. Take that one off. Run it along the stitching. Of course, this time I cut it too big. Go figure, right? Always happens. But I'm sure I'll be able to find a place for that little piece. And every time I'm doing this, I am going to push this down flat because it has a tendency to want to fold in on me. So I want to make sure that it doesn't do that. And then we'll finish off the 2 edges here. So I'm going to grab a couple more strips. I'm not sure that one's long enough. So let's do a quick measure somewhere around here. Cut a couple of them since I need one for the top and one for the bottom. And again, making sure that's laying flat, come across the stitching, push the cardstock down as you go. Hey, that was pretty good. I did pretty good on that one. I actually measured it properly without going over the edge or making it too short for that matter. Again, let's push that down, make sure it's nice and flat. Run that foam adhesive strip right along your stitching. And again, keep that down because we don't want this puppy raising up on us. So that gives us that piece. Next, we're going to take, oh, I should have probably said you might want to have some liquid glue as well, because I found a little tip that seems to work well. When we remove these adhesive strips or the paper backing, you know, you're kind of in a situation where once you put the adhesive onto your cardstock, you're kind of like, oh, if I mess up, it's stuck. Well, what we're going to do is instead, once I get the backing off, I'm going to take some of my liquid adhesive and I'm going to run it along that strip, the sticky part. And that will give me that ability to move this around until I get it into the right place. So one thing I like to do is often, because, you know, if you try to put this down, you're kind of like, okay, where does this go? Not sure if it's going to go here or there. Let's flip it over. Let's give ourselves that visual. And if you want to use your grid paper, you can do that too. But then use the back side to give yourself that perspective of where are you going to place this frame when you put it down, okay? So we have a good idea. Now that it's sticking to my fingers, I'm going to take my liquid adhesive and I'm just going to get this out of the way for now. And I'm going to take this and run it right along that adhesive. And what I said this does is it makes it, gives you that ability to move this little layer around in the event, like me, you don't necessarily get it centered and square on the card front the first pass. This gives you that little bit of playtime. Okay. This is actually just Tombow glue. I bought myself this cute little bottle with this nice little fine tip nib on the end of it, because I found that sometimes the Tombow comes out of the bottle pretty dang fast and I'm left with it like a big glob all over the place, and that's not fun. So get our card straight, place the frame down to start, check to see that it looks good and even all the way around. And if you need to move it, you can. So we'll just give it a little push this way, like so. And just shift the bottom end in a little bit more. There, and that gives us our frame. So that's the first layer. So you can see now these guys are up and not pushed down into the base of the card. So we'll set that aside for now, and we're going to start building our flower. So bringing back in all of our pieces, we are going to start with the large flower. We'll start with a large flower, and it's two little friends here, these little half daisies. I'm sure that's probably not a daisy, but that's what I'm calling it because I'm really not sure. I'm not a flower person in terms of knowing the names of everything, but you know, it is what it is. So we're going to start off and we're going to start building that base flower using those two little flowers and the larger one. So I'm going to just bring our card sample in as a guide so I can just kind of remember where I put everything, because I kind of like the placement that I did. And the first time I did this, it was sort of a luck of the draw. I was like, oh, wow, I did a great job. Anyway, so now that we know where we're going to place that, we're going to flip this over and we're going to take our stamp and seal, and you're going to run a little bit along there and a little bit along there. Now, as you can see, I got it so that it kind of put it in the wrong place. You can use your nail or a bone folder or something. Push that adhesive down in so that you don't see it when you go to place the pieces behind it. So we'll start with this flower here, this half flower. I'm going to put this one on a bit more of an angle. Press that down, pick this guy up, and lay him just up like about 1 o'clock, we'll say. So I got one at sort of maybe 7, 8 o'clock, and then the other one at 1 o'clock. Then we're going to start building in a clockwise fashion. But I'm going to start down on the bottom corner here. And I'm going to start with my little baby leaf. So knowing that I need to get some adhesive here, I'm going to flip this over, grab some more Stamp and Seal, and don't worry about dragging this across because you're going to end up covering most of it, if not all of it. And we'll flip this over. We'll take our leaf and we'll just place it right in this little nook, right about there. Well, maybe not quite there. Now let's get that off our finger and let's just place that about there. Okay, so now we've got two flowers, two half flowers, the full flower and the leaf in place. Next step, let's start layering in these 2 of the leaf branches. We're going to put one so that it tucks right up against here, and then another one more or less over here. So once again, we can flip it over. I see I have a fair amount of adhesive on there, but let's add just a little bit into that section up there. And then turn the leaf and the branches the way you want it to run, and then just touch it down and pick it up. Similarly, take the other one. We'll just put it on a small angle, and we'll touch it down, and we'll pick it up. There we go. So I'm just going to flip this over, make sure these guys are pushed down so that everything's secured. Next, we are going to fill in this gap here. So we're going to take one of the 2 of the whites that we had previously die cut, and we're just going to sneak it right on in here like so. So, need a little bit more adhesive. Take my Stamp and Seal, and then keeping this on the angle that I want it, I'm going to tuck it in so that this little petal comes underneath here, and these guys are tucked in at the side like that. Now, if you're worried whether or not this is going to be over the edge of your card front, I suggest you bring your card in and you just start to play with it, and you look to see how much of it's overlapping the frame and how much is not, and not to worry because we're going to pop this up so that it's even with that frame. We'll continue to build. We're going to take the next Granny Apple Green branch and we're going to place it up in here. So flip it over, grab some Stamp and Seal. I keep wanting to call it snail. That's past tense. It's Stamp and Seal Plus. And we'll lay it down and we will touch it down like so. And we'll pick it up. And there's the next piece. And then lastly, we've got of the main flower pieces, this one more of the flower and leaf combo. And we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna add our Stamp and Seal. Try not to ruin what you've already done, like I just did. And then we'll just place this one right in like, I think I want it a little bit further down, maybe a little bit like that. Actually, I want the little leaf to show, so let's twist it a little bit more. Maybe that looks good. Okay, so let's just flip it over, make sure we at least have adhesive in place, flip it back, grab our frame and our card base, and then start playing with how we're going to lay this onto the card front. So we can see there's, it'll fit nicely in here. And in order to pop this up, like I said, grab those, grab the foam strips and we'll place them on the back. And the nice thing about this is that if you're at all worried that maybe you didn't get enough adhesive on some of these, this is going to act as that catch-all. And you're just going to place it right on there and it's going to secure over the edges that you might have missed. So you'll play around with cutting various strips and various sizes. I'm going to just cut a few here. I'm going to peel one off and then we'll place it. I need to have it so that I catch these and I create enough lift so that when I put this on my card front, it's not interfering with the frame and it's raised up. So far so good. So again, we're concentrating those foam strips around this center section, all right? Okay, grab another one. Got 2 here, so we'll just do this. And then place it across those guys. Place this one across here. And again, let's flip it over, make sure I don't have any of those foam strips showing from the back, which I'm looking pretty good so far. And then this is going to be placed right on like so. Now, I'm a little concerned, maybe I don't have any support behind these, so I might add a little bit more here, and maybe I need to add a touch to the Calypso Coral flowers. So come on back to these foam strips. get another piece and let's put one here. Grab another one. And we'll put it right on this one here, like so. And I'm going to get a little tiny one for here, maybe one there and one there as well. So we need something a little bit smaller because again, you don't want it to show from behind the card. So we'll take one piece and we'll just tuck it right onto this little tiny branch, like so. And I'll flip it around, make sure that it's within and under so that it is not showing. There's one. Grab another piece and we'll go after this guy. Again, where's the sticky? There it is. Just place that right along there. Rotate it around a little bit. Actually, I'm going to use my tweezers because my fingernails are getting in the way. I can't see what I'm doing. So let's take the tweezers. That's better. Lightly touch it down. Make sure it's not showing around those little edges there, right? We don't want any showing there or there. Give it a press. Give all those guys a good little push. And one final one. Grab this guy with our tweezers and lay him right on here. Again, checking. Yep, we're good there. Okay, so that looks pretty good so far. Let's bring this back in to do a quick measure and a quick placement. We're going to place it like so. Oh, that looks pretty good. This guy is now raised. These are all raised. We do need to add our three little flowers onto the card. So I'm going to put one here, and because I didn't leave much space up here, I'll probably put one there and one there. So we'll grab the first one, we'll flip it over, and I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. I'm just going to run a little strip across that. Again, fold in any adhesive that appears around the edges of your flower. Grab your tweezers and just place it right onto that little section and give it a squeeze. Okay, like so. In fact, maybe I'm going to raise it up just a little bit. I think I have enough time to get it off there. Yeah, because I wanted to have those the base of the little flower showing, so it looks almost like little white petals on the bottom. So that one will go there. And now we're ready to place our flower bouquet into the frame. So let's give these guys a good push, make sure they're connected. We will grab our tweezers, we'll start lifting off that paper backing, and then we'll place our flower bouquet into the frame. Okay, grab that guy out of the way. Grab the next one. Sometimes it's easier to get them off than other times. Okay, and this one, that one I've already taken off. Sometimes it's not that easy to see whether you've taken it off, so I just will take the tips and see if my tweezers and see if it sticks. And if it sticks, then I know that I've taken that backing off. Okay, and finally the last two, that one and this one. Get those out of the way. Flip it over. Bring our card front back in focus here. Grab our tweezers and start playing around with how we're going to lay this onto the card. Now I wanted these two branches to be down and that one to be up, so we're going to give it a bit of a twist. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to place 2 mini dimensionals on the back of that because with the weight of the little flower that I put on there, it seems to want to fold down, and we don't want that. So we'll take one, we'll place it right in the center, we'll remove the paper backing, and we'll layer a second one on there to give it the same height as the foam strips. So I'm going to just take the backing off to start, get it out of the way. Pick up the little dimensional and place it right on top of the other one. Would have liked to have had it a little more centered than that. Didn't do a very good job there, but it does the trick. It gives the lift that we're looking for. You're not going to see it anyways. So we'll flip that right on over, grab our tweezers again, and place this flower bouquet right onto the card. Now that one will stick right in there, and then you'll just lightly touch down where you know those foam strips are. And you don't have to worry about putting any adhesive here because it's all nice and secured right underneath the bouquet itself. What we have left to do is to add our 2 little flowers. So I'm just going to use a little bit of the Tombow glue. I'll place that one right here. And then I'll put one more down here. But this one I'm going to put on a dimensional. So I'll grab my little, it might actually fit one of the larger ones. Let's just see if it's too big. Looks pretty good, eh? Yep, fits actually pretty good. So we'll do that. We'll tape off our paper backing and place this one right down here. So that gives us the coverage, you know, and sort of a symmetrical look and feel to the whole card. All I have left to do now is I got to stamp my greeting, and I'll place it right on here. So I'm going to grab some black ink or Memento ink, and maybe I'll make this one, yeah, maybe we'll do a birthday card on this one. We'll do a happy birthday. This sentiment is right out of the kit, out of the bundle, so that works nicely. We'll take our sentiment, make sure we've got it straight, and then just stamp our image, our sentiment right into the center of the frame, like so. Hold it for a second or two, just to let the ink transfer. I heard one time somebody say, you don't need to push like you're giving CPR, so you just need to hold it there and let the ink do its thing and transfer over. And there you go. Perfect. So we'll bring our card back into focus, we'll flip it over, and now I'm just going to use the Stampin' Seal Plus on the back of this and place it right onto my card front. And that will be the end of our card. See how easy was that? I hope you're all smiling because this card just makes me happy. I love the springy colors, the bright and sunny colors that are on this card, and I'm sure whoever you end up giving this to will like it as well. There we are. Thanks so much for joining me today. Really appreciate you stopping in. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them at the bottom. I would love to answer anything that you are questioning or you're wondering about. And again, those links to my club and my online shopping can be found below this video. Have a fantastic day and enjoy the beautiful weather. Bye for now.